Nagaland government in collaboration with the British Deputy High Commission Kolkata observed Remembrance Day at the Kohima War Cemetery. Nagaland Chief Minister Nltv Rio urged the centre to boost the state's infrastructure, education and connectivity. Death toll in Red Fort blast rose to 12 after 3 more victims succumbed to injuries. US Senate passed legislation to reopen the government, moving to end the 41-day shutdown after a small group of Democrats agreed to deal with Republicans. Hello and welcome to Nltv English Primetime. This is Chanchan Kasar and now the news in detail. Nagaland government in collaboration with the British Deputy High Commission Kolkata observed Remembrance Day on 11 November at the Kohima War Cemetery at 11 am. Chief Minister Nltv Rio was the special guest while Deputy Head of Mission Bharat Dev was the guest of honor. The event was chaired by Home Commissioner and Principal Secretary Abhijit Sinha. The program included a formal commemorations, a band performance by the Nagaland Territorial Army, followed by lunch and the flagging of a vintage car rally. Remembrance Day, also known as Poppy Day, honored the armed forces members who died in the line of duty, marking the end of World War I hostilities on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month 1980. Nagaland Chief Minister Nltv Rio urged the centre to boost the state's infrastructure, education and connectivity. Speaking at the CPA Zone 3 conference, he called for reviving of IISDR project, upgrading NIMSR to an AIMS-like institute, completing the Dimapur-Tizit Railway and reviewing the Shelf J2 Greenfield Airport. Rio also highlighted Nagaland's lack of national institutions and the economic impact of the reimposed protected area permit, stressing that special attention is needed for the state development. The Chagisang Students Union has condemned the Ranta Infrastructure Project Private Limited for poor progress on NH39, calling the stretch hazardous for commuters. Criticizing NHIDCL for failing to take corrective actions, CSU demanded immediate disciplinary measures and warned of public agitation if the situation is not resolved. Chief Minister Nltv Rio received warm birthday greetings from state leaders including Minister Temjin Imnalong and Jacob Jimami, who praised his leadership and contributions to Nagaland's development. Temjin Imnalong wished the CM good health and long life, saying his vision continues to guide Nagaland towards peace and prosperity. Jacob Jimami echoed the sentiments, noting Rio's role in aligning the state development with the vision of Viksit Bharat and prayed for his continued well-being. Nagaland Chief Minister Nltv Rio and State Ministers have expressed deep sorrow over the blast near Delhi's Red Fort, which killed several and injured many. CM Rio said he was shocked and offered his thoughts and prayers for the victims' families. Minister Jacob Jimami called the incident extremely heartbreaking, while Tourism Minister Temjin Imnalong described it as a tragic and prayed for the injured speedy recovery. Nagaland Chief Minister Nltv Rio called on citizens to honor past sacrifices by the fostering peace and unity in the state. Sharing a message of social media, he said, "As we reflect on the past, let us honor the fallen by upholding peace and transforming memories of conflict into a message of reconciliation." Rio emphasized turning Nagaland's history of struggle into a foundation for lasting harmony and progress, reinforcing his commitment to peace building. Renowned gospel band Divine Connections held a press conference at the Oriental Grand to announce their latest music video on the Knees. The 5-member band shared insight into the song's creation and its message of faith, hope and surrender. Lead vocalist Obed Kat thanked supporters and emphasized the band's mission to inspire through gospel music. The video is now available on all digital platforms.
Today is the day after a long wait, we could, find out a date today, and we are here today to release the first music video. The song's called "On My Knees," and after the first drop of the audio versions in our YouTube channel, some 4 months ago. The response was overwhelming, and so we thought, why not come up with a music video as well? And we actually, to be quite honest, we procrastinated and waited for the last minute to, come up with this. But here we are, and this could be, as a team, this will be our first singles. But prior to that, almost a decade ago, we had one music video released, and that was aired in VH1, and the song was called It's Love. But after 10 long years, here we are for the release of On My Knees, our latest singles.
It's 20 years, not 25 years.
It's 22 years, actually, to be precise. 2027, we will be celebrating our 25th anniversary. And we have a few plans in pipelines. We have a plan of, reaching out to the entire district of the state with our music and with our things. So we're looking forward to that as well.
So 22 years, it's been a long time now. So can you share something about your experiences then and now, make comparisons?
Certainly. When we initially started, everything was very fresh for us, even the industry in the state. So we had faced a lot of struggles, skepticisms about pushing our music forward. But luckily, we had music task force back then, and then that's where we got few shows here and there. And also, the band is fortunate enough to participate in the first National Hornbill Rock Contest way back in 2005. And we stood out as the first runner-up. And then we thought, after that, the first thing we need to do is to come up with an album. So the following year itself, we started recording our debut album. The album is titled Elroy, and the response was also very good. But like I said, everything was a challenge. We have limitations of internet facilities and also equipments. A lot of technical challenges we had to face, but somehow we managed to cut that album, and it's going on well. The difference would be now that everything is right in your palm, and to promote your music is not something that we should sweat anymore. That is the difference that we get now.
So based on your experience, do you think it's music as a career is a viable option for the youth?
Today is the day after.
The Assam Rifles held an outreach drive at 3 miles Dimapur on 10 November with around 200 participants, including next of kin of service and retired personnel. During the event, 45 grievances were registered, 20 resolved on the spot, while 25 are under process. Medical checkups and free medicines were provided to 80 beneficiaries, and 75 new ex-servicemen were registered on the Sampark Setu app. A felicitation program honored 3 Veer Naris, 2 gallantry awardees, and 2 veterans of the 1962 war. The program concluded with refreshments, and veterans expressed gratitude to the Assam Rifles for their continued support and commitment to ex-servicemen and their families. Three militants, including a woman from Ben outfit, were arrested in Manipur for extortion. Nltv Inocha, 40 years, of the UNLFK was held at Kakching with a pistol, cartridge and 41,200 cash. Kumantem Promila Devi, 22 years, of the KCP PWG was detained in Imphal West, while Yunmen Arun Singh, 27 years, of UPPK was arrested in Kakching. Security forces seized rifles, hand grenade and ammunition in Tobak. Operations continue to nab others involved. A 22-year-old Mishuk Nath died after his bike hit a parked lorry in Kameshwar, North Tripura late Monday night. The accident, reported around 1 a.m., left the rider with fatal head injuries. He was taken to Dharmanagar District Hospital, where he was succumbed. Police have registered a case and are investigating.
এ, গতকালকে মধ্যরাত্রে আনুমানিক 1:05 হঠাৎ করে আমাদের এই কন্ট্রোল রুম থেকে একটা কল আছে কামেশ্বর সঞ্জয় কলোনি রাস্তার ঠিক উল্টো দিকে একটা মারাত্মক অ্যাক্সিডেন্ট হয়। তো আমরা অ্যাকর্ডিংলি গেলাম, গিয়ে দেখি একটা ছেলে একটা বাইক রাস্তার মধ্যে পড়েছিল এবং একটা ক্যাজুয়ালিটি একটা লোক খুব মারাত্মক ইনজুরি অবস্থাতে উনি পড়েছিল রাস্তার মধ্যে। তো ওখানে বিএ স্টাফও ছিলেন, আমাদের থানার ম্যাডাম ছিলেন ওখানে। তো আমরা গেলাম, ক্যাজুয়ালিটি রেস্কিউ করলাম এবং ধর্মনগর হসপিটালে শিফট করে দিলাম। তো এখানে দেখলাম একটা লরি যার নাম্বার NL01L9382 নাম্বারের লরি একটা ওই স্ট্যান্ডিং পজিশনে রাস্তার বাম দিকে দাঁড়িয়েছিল। তো বাইকটা সজুরে এসে পেছন থেকে ধাক্কা মারে, তাতে বাইক রাইডারের খুব সিরিয়াস ইনজুর হয়। বাইকের নাম্বার হচ্ছে PR05B 9683 নাম্বারের বাইকটা ঠিক ট্রাকের পেছনেই পড়েছিল বাইকটা। আর বাইকের পাশেই এই আমাদের যে ক্যাজুয়ালিটি উনি পড়েছিল মারাত্মক ইনজুরি অবস্থাতে। তো ওনার নাম হচ্ছে, বাইক রাইডারের নাম হচ্ছে মিশু নাথ, বয়স 22 বছর। এটাও আজকে সকালে জানতে পারলাম পিএস থেকে, নামটা জানতে পেরেছি। তো ওনাকে
Actor Dharmendra is stable and recovering in a Mumbai hospital, his daughter Aisha Diol said on Tuesday. Asking the media to stop spreading false news about his health, Isha posted on Instagram urging privacy and thanking fans for their prayers. Hema Malini also condemned irresponsible media coverage on Twitter, calling it disrespectful. The statement came amid tributes from Rajnath Singh, Yogi Adityanath and Javed Akhtar as the family denied reports of Dharmendra's death. The Trade Service Exercise 2025 involved complex drills and multi-domain operations across Rajasthan, Gujarat and the North Arabian Sea. The exercise featured 2 to 25 naval assets, over 40 aircraft, 30,000 army personnel and equipment. Indian Coast Guard, BSF and other agencies also participated, showcasing inter-agency coordination, innovation and self-reliance. James Kapani is breaking stereotypes by growing saffron on a rooftop in Kerala using aeroponics, a soil-free method where plants grow in air and mist. The controlled setup replicates Kashmir's cool climate, traditionally ideal for saffron. India produces only 10% of its domestic saffron demand, with the rest imported. Kapan's experiment shows urban farming could help meet demand for the high-level spice and inspire similar ventures.
किसी को भी कर सकते हैं। जो मैं जो इधर कर रहा है, घर के ऊपर जो है छत है, छत के ऊपर जो है एक रूम बनाए है। रूम जो है ना पफ पैनल से बनाना है। उसके बाद जो है उसका मैं कूलिंग सिस्टम बनाना है। कूलिंग सिस्टम के बाद जो है ह्यूमिडिफायर, डीह्यूमिडिफायर, इस तरह का जो इक्विपमेंट है उसमें लगा के एरोफोनिक तरीका से इधर खेती कर रहे हैं। कश्मीर से मैं इसका बल्ब लेके आया, सैफ्रॉन बल्ब लेके आ गया है। उसके बाद जो है इसका नीम ऑयल से ट्रीटमेंट करना है। सैफ्रॉन का जो है 3 लाख से लेके 6 लाख तक इसका भाव बढ़ता है। और ये जो है हम लोग जो है होली में इस्तेमाल करते हैं, मंदिर में जो है पूजा के लिए ये इस्तेमाल करते हैं। और जो है स्टार होटल्स में ये जो है फूड में इस्तेमाल करते हैं। इस तरह का इसका मार्केट बहुत ज़्यादा है। और इंडिया में जो है केवल 10% जो है उत्पादन होता है, बाकी जो है 90% जो है बाहर से इंडिया लेके आ जाता है। तो ये किसी को भी कर सकते हैं।
Congress MP Rahul Gogoi on November 11 expressed shock over the recent terror attack in Pahalgam and Delhi, calling them deeply painful and urging stronger security measures and national unity. In a social media post, Gogoi extended condolences to the victims and prayers for the injured, emphasizing that perpetrators must be pursued and accountably ensured. Meanwhile, forensic teams inspected the Redford blast site where a Hyundai I-20 explosions on Monday evening killed 8 and injured several others. The blast occurred near gate number 1 of the Redford metro station around 6:50 p.m., destroying nearby vehicles and causing severe injuries to passersby. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday assured that those behind the Delhi Red Fort blast, which killed 12 people, will be brought to justice. Speaking in Thimphu, Bhutan, he called the explosion horrifying and expressed solidarity with victims' families. The blast, which occurred Monday evening near the Red Fort metro station, damaged nearby vehicles and injured over 20 people. Modi said agencies are investigating the incident thoroughly and vowed that conspirations will not escape justice.
लेकिन आज मैं यहां बहुत भारी मन से आया हूं। कल शाम दिल्ली में हुई भयावह घटना ने सभी के मन को व्यथित कर दिया है। मैं पीड़ित परिवारों का दुख समझता हूं। आज पूरा देश उनके साथ खड़ा है। मैं कल रात भर इस घटना की जांच में जुटी सभी एजेंसियों के साथ, सभी महत्वपूर्ण लोगों के साथ संपर्क में था, विचार विमर्श चलता था, जानकारियों के तार जोड़े जा रहे थे। हमारी एजेंसियां इस षड्यंत्र की तह तक जाएगी। इसके पीछे के षड्यंत्रकारियों को बख्शा नहीं जाएगा। All those responsible will be brought to justice. लेकिन आज मैं यहां बहुत
Police arrested Kashmiri doctor Muzammil Ghani and 7 others in connections with a Red Fort blast that killed 12. Nearly 2,900 kg of explosives were recovered from rooms rented by Ghani. Searches continue to all Al-Falah University and nearby areas. Investigators say Ghani and his associates were linked to Jaish-e-Mohammed and Ansar Ghazat al-Hind. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh on Tuesday officially termed the recent deadly blast near Delhi's Red Fort a terror attack, offering condolences to the victims' families and assuring a swift investigation by top security agencies. In his statement, Singh identified the suspected attack, Omar Mohammed from Pulwama, allegedly linked to a larger terror module.
And foremost, I extend my heartfelt condolences to all those who lost their lives in the tragic incident that occurred in Delhi yesterday. I pray to God to grant strength and solace to the bereaved families in this hour of deep grief. From this platform, I wish to assure my citizens that the country's leading investigative agencies are conducting a swift and thorough inquiry into the incident. The findings of the investigation will soon be made public. I want to formally assure the nation that those responsible for this tragedy will be brought to the justice and will not be spared under any circumstances. First and foremost, I extend my heartfelt condolences to all those who lost their lives in the tragic incident that occurred in Delhi yesterday. I pray.
The former landlord of Mohammed Salman, the owner of the car involved in Monday's Red Fort blast that killed 12, said Salman moved out of his Shantinagar residence in 2020. Delhi police had detained Salman and also questioned the landlord's brother Dinesh. The explosion occurred at a traffic signal near the Red Fort metro station, destroying the car and several nearby vehicles.
सलमान हमारे यहाँ 2016 में आया था, 2020 में लॉकडाउन करीब खाली करके चला गया। उसके बाद हमारा कोई कांटेक्ट नहीं था उससे।
कल पुलिस आई थी यहाँ पर, किस तरीके से क्या
पुलिस आई थी, सीबीआई आई थी और रात को ले गई छोटे वाले भाई को।
छोटे वाले भाई क्या नाम था भाई?
दिनेश।
दिनेश किसने लेके गई है, क्या कह गई है?
पूछताछ के लिए बोल रहे, पूछताछ के लिए लेके जा रहे हैं।
तीसरे पे
तीसरे फ्लोर पे रहता है।
तीसरे पे है भाई।
अच्छा, तो कब से कब तक रहा हुआ यहाँ पर?
वो आया है 2016 में।
अच्छा,
2015 में हमारा मकान बन के तैयार हुआ है।
ठीक है।
ठीक है, फिर वो गया है लॉकडाउन के बाद गया है यहाँ से। मैंने अपना फ्लैट खरीद लिया बेटा, फिर वो खाली करके यहाँ से चला गया।
हाँ, बताया उसे फ्लैट अपना।
फ्लैट में बताया ये धुनेला के पास कौन सा गिलोवर वो बोलते हैं ना।
अच्छा।
वहाँ बताया यहीं खड़ी हुई गाड़ी तो बाकी।
अच्छा,
अपने कंपनी ले जाओ, चलो जाओ, और अपने कहीं बच्चे भाई बाजार घाट जाए तो अपने बीवी बच्चे ने लेके जाओ, यहाँ थे बैठा के यहीं थे और यहीं उतार।
सलमान हमारे यहाँ 2016 में आया था, 2020 में लॉकडाउन करीब खाली करके चला गया। उसके बाद हमारा कोई कांटेक्ट नहीं था उससे।
कल पुलिस आई थी यहाँ पर, किस तरीके से क्या
पुलिस आई थी,
कहाँ से आई थी?
सीबीआई आई थी और रात को ले गई छोटे वाले भाई को।
छोटे भाई, क्या नाम था भाई का?
दिनेश।
दिनेश किसने लेके गई है, क्या कह के गई है?
पूछताछ के लिए बोल रहे, पूछताछ के लिए लेके जा रहे हैं।
तीसरे
फ्लोर पे रहता।
तीसरे पे है भाई।
अच्छा, तो कब से कब तक रहा हुआ यहाँ पर?
वो आया है 2016 में।
अच्छा,
2015 में हमारा मकान बन के तैयार हुआ है।
ठीक है।
ठीक है।
Delhi police say the Red Fort blast that killed 9 and injured 20 may be linked to a Faridabad terror model. Umar Mohammed, a Pulwana doctor, allegedly drove the Hyundai i20 used in the explosion. CCTV shows a masked driver. The car was parked 3 hours before the blast. The Faridabad model led to 8 arrests and 2,900 kg of explosives seized. Security have been tightened across Delhi. The death toll in the Red Fort blast rose to 12 after 3 more victims succumbed to injuries. The explosion hit a slow-moving car near the Red Fort metro station on Monday evening, injuring 20 others. Delhi police registered an FIR under the UAPA and Explosive Act and are conducting raids at multiple locations. The city remains on high alert with strict security at airport, railway stations and bus terminals. The Supreme Court on Tuesday allowed Surendra Kohli's curative petition challenging his convictions and death sentence on one of the Nltv murder cases, effectively freeing him. Kohli had already been acquitted in other Nltv cases. The Nltv killings came to light in December 2006, where skeletal remains of 8 children were found behind businessman Mohinder Singh's house in Noida. Kohli was earlier convicted for raping and murdering a 15-year-old girl. His death sentence was commuted to life in 2015 due to delays in mercy petition decision.
उन्नीस साल के बाद उसको जो 13 केसेस में फांसी की सजा दी गई थी, उनमें से 12 तो पहले ही वो निर्दोष साबित हो गया था, एक बचा था। उस केस में 5 कोर्ट ने उसको दोषी ठहरा के फांसी की सजा दी थी। आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने वो पहले के 4 या 5 फैसले उस केस में वापस ले लिए और माना कि हमारी गलती थी और उसको निर्दोष छोड़ दिया है, साबित करके छोड़ दिया। सारे सबूत बनावटी थे और किसी भारी बड़े इंसान को बचाने के लिए इस गरीब आदमी को फंसाया गया था कि सीबीआई ने असली कातिल को जानते हुए इन बेगुनाहों के खिलाफ बनावटी सबूत बना के इनको फंसाया है। ये सवाल सीबीआई से पूछे। 19 साल के बाद उसको जो 13 केसेस में फांसी की सजा दी गई थी, उनमें से 12 तो पहले ही वो निर्दोष साबित हो गया था, एक बचा था। उस केस में 5 कोर्ट ने उसको दोषी ठहरा के फांसी की सजा दी थी। आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने वो पहले के 4 या 5 फैसले उस केस में वापस ले लिए और माना कि हमारी गलती थी और उसको निर्दोष छोड़ दिया है, साबित करके छोड़ दिया। सारे सबूत बनावटी थे और किसी भारी बड़े इंसान को बचाने के लिए इस गरीब आदमी को फंसाया गया था कि सीबीआई ने असली कातिल को जानते हुए इन बेगुनाहों के खिलाफ बनावटी सबूत बना के इनको फंसाया है। ये सवाल सीबीआई से पूछे। 19 साल के बाद उसको जो 13 केसेस में फांसी की सजा दी गई थी, उनमें से 12 तो पहले ही वो निर्दोष।
The Supreme Court on Monday declined to hear a plea by radical preachers and Khadur Sahib MP Amritpal Singh challenging his detentions under the National Security Act. A bench of Justice Arvind Kumar and N.V. Anjaria directed Singh to approach the Punjab and Haryana High Court, which has been asked to decide his plea within 6 weeks. Singh, head of the Waris Punjab Day outfit, is lodged in Dubrugarh jail, Assam, along with 9 associates under the NSA.
देखो जी, जो मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हैं भाई अमृतपाल सिंह, उनकी ओर से ये जो माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट में अंडर आर्टिकल 32 ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ये जो पिटीशन दायर की थी, जिसमें हमने जो माननीय अदालत से ये दरखास्त बेनती की थी कि जो उनके ऊपर एक तीसरा एनएसए लगाया गया है जी, जो तीसरी बार करीबन उनको 2.5 साल हो चुके हैं जेल के अंदर, डिटेंशन विदाउट ट्रायल है, और तीसरा एनएसए उनके ऊपर लगाया गया है, तो उसको खारिज किया जाए, वो बाहर आ सकें। अब वो एक जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के हेड हैं, जिस पार्टी के 2 मेंबर पार्लियामेंट हैं, एक भाई अमृतपाल सिंह खुद हैं, एक भाई सरबजीत सिंह खालसा है, तो जो माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये फैसला किया भी पहले माननीय हाई कोर्ट का इस पे फैसला आ जाए, तो उन्होंने जो डायरेक्शन दी है जो हाई कोर्ट पंजाब एंड हरियाणा हाई कोर्ट चंडीगढ़ को कि वो तकरीबन 6 हफ्ते में इस केस का डिसीजन करें, फिर जो माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट इस पे कोई जो डिसीजन है वो लेंगे जी। तो अभी जो विंटर सेशन आने वाला है उसके रिगार्डिंग हम जो संबंधित अथॉरिटीज़ हैं उनको जो पिटिशंस भी जो लिखेंगे, जो पंजाब सरकार की अथॉरिटीज़ हैं, होम सेक्रेटरी पंजाब, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के होम सेक्रेटरी, स्पीकर लोकसभा के जो संबंधित अथॉरिटीज़ बनती हैं।
Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Tuesday reviewed the security situation in Delhi and across the country following the Red Fort blast that killed 12 people. The meeting included top officials such as Union Home Secretary Govind Mohan, Delhi Police Commissioner Satish Golcha, IB Director Tapan Dekha and NIA DG Sunand Visan Date with Jammu and Kashmir DGP Nalint Prabhat joining virtually. Officials briefed Shah on the aftermath that he emphasized that top investigating agencies are probing the incident thoroughly. The explosion occurred at a traffic signal near the Red Fort metro station, destroying the car and several nearby vehicles. Indian pacer Mohammad Siraj expressed confidence ahead of the India's Test series against defending World Test Championship winners South Africa starting Friday. India currently third in the WTC point table, drew in England before defeating the West Indies at home. South Africa began their title defense with 1-1 draw in Pakistan. Siraj, India's leading wicket taker, said he is bowling in good rhythm and eager to face a strong challenge. Indian Super League players including Sandesh Jingan have urged the AIFF to resume the postseason after no bids were received from the league's commercial right. Top clubs like Mohan Bagan have halted training and players warned this standstill is harming career and fans. The AIFF SC appointed committee will submit a report on the failed bid process. The centre on Tuesday imposed Stage 3 restrictions under the Graded Response Action Plan after Delhi's air quality worsened to a severe category with the AQI rising to 425. The Commission for Air Quality Management said calm winds and poor weather trapped pollution near the surface. Stage 3 measures include a ban on non-essential constructions, closure of stone crushes and mining, and restrictions on BS3 petrol and BS4 diesel cars in New Delhi and nearby NCR areas. Schools up to class 5 have been asked to switch to online or hybrid mode. President Donald Trump made Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara at the White House on Monday, the first visit by a Syrian leader since 1946. The meeting held behind closed doors marked Syria's entry into the US-led coalition against ISIS. Al-Shara, who outstayed Bashar Assad last year, once had linked to Al-Qaeda and carried a $10 million US bounty. His visit follows the lifting of US sanctions on Syria. China announced export limit on 13 phenyl-related chemicals to the US, Canada and Mexico following talks between President Trump and Xi Jinping. The move aims to help tackle the U.S. fentanyl crisis and comes as Trump cuts tariff on China from 20% to 10%. The restrictions continues U.S.-China cooperation on narcotics, which has fluctuated with trade and diplomatic tensions. The U.S. Senate on Monday passed legislation to reopen the government, moving to end a 41-day shutdown, the longest in U.S. history, after a small group of Democrats agreed to deal with Republicans. The shutdown may continue briefly as the House, in recess since mid-September, returns to vote on the bill. President Donald Trump expressed support. The stalemate lasted over 6 weeks, with Democrats pushing for extended health care tax credit. House Speaker Mark Johnson said lawmakers to return to Washington immediately to expedite the process. We will now take a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. Let's get back with the news. Jared Kushner, U.S. President Donald Trump's son-in-law, met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday to discuss the next stage of the Gaza ceasefire. Israel also returned the remains of 15 Palestinians, part of a deal exchanging remains for hostages. The first phase of the ceasefire, effective October 10, is ending, with the next stage involving Gaza governance and an international stabilization force still unresolved. 4 Israeli hostages remain in Gaza, while the total Palestinian remains returned has reached 250. India's UN envoy Harish called on the Security Council to take a zero-tolerance stance on illicit weapons used in cross-border terrorism, in a veiled reference to Pakistan. He stressed that terror groups rely on traffic arms and drone and urged strict enforcement of UN arms. His comment came after a Red Fort blast in Delhi killed 9 people.
Thank you for convening this open debate on small arms. We also thank the briefers for their briefings. The illicit trade, trafficking and diversion of small arms and light weapons remains a major threat to international peace and security. As a complex and multidimensional problem, it has cross-cutting impact on development, on security, humanitarian and socio-economic aspects. India attaches high importance to preventing, combating and eradicating the illicit trade in small arms and light weapons. An integrated approach to small arms and light weapons management requires addressing both the security and development dimensions. India believes that 5 key elements are critical for effective small arms and light weapons control. 1. National ownership through strong legislation and political commitment. 2. A standardized organizational structure for coordinated action. 3. Effective data management to enable real-time tracing and accountability. 4. Risk management to prevent diversion and misuse. And 5. Security protocols and deterrence measures to strengthen border controls and stockpile management. Mr. President, India welcomes the report of the Secretary General contained in document S/2025/670 on the ways and means by which the Security Council could contribute to this issue. The report notes that the diversion and illicit trafficking of small arms and light weapons continue to sustain terrorist groups and armed organizations in several conflict-affected regions. It highlights that porous borders, weak stockpile security, and cross-border trafficking networks enable the steady flow of such weapons, while improvised and craft-produced weapons further complicate tracing and accountability. The illicit trafficking of small arms and related ammunition continues to be a major factor sustaining armed groups and terrorist organizations. The consistent access of such entities to weapons highlights the need for coordinated action to prevent their acquisition. The Security Council must continue to uphold a zero-tolerance approach to terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, and to those who facilitate, sponsor, finance, or enable the use and movement of such weapons. Arms embargoes authorized by this Council are an important tool to restrict the flow of weapons into conflict zones and must be implemented consistently, objectively, and without selectivity. Mr. President, India has fought the scourge of terrorism for several decades and is therefore aware of the dangers posed by the...
David Saleh, a Canadian-Hungarian British writer, won the Book Prize for Fiction 2025 for his novel Flesh, which explores the life of an ordinary man cross-decade. Saleh, 51, triumphed over 5 finalists, including Andrew Miller and Kiran Desai, earning the 50,000 award. The judges, chaired by Robbie Doyle and including Sarah Jessica Parker, chose Flesh unanimously after 5 hours of deliberation. Doyle described the novel as about living and the strangeness of living. The book follows Slavic and Hungarian immigration from youth to high society life in London, reflecting on the physical and emotional realities of existence. Japan and China engaged in a war of words after Prime Minister Seni Takaichi said the Chinese attack on Taiwan could be a survival-threatening situation for Japan, potentially requiring force. China criticized Takaichi's remark, with Consul General posting a now-deleted message on Twitter warning Japan, calling past Japanese statement on Taiwan's interference in Chinese affairs. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary said Tokyo protested the message, describing it as extremely inappropriate, and demanded an explanation. Renowned India Chitraveena maestro Ravi Kiran delivered a spellbinding Carnatic classical performance at Jerusalem's Crown Auditorium, accompanied by K.V. Prasad on the mridangam and Gayatri Shivani in a violin. The audience of over 450 attendees applauded Ravi Kiran's original compositions, giving a standing ovations for the seamless synergy with his co-artists. The performance was part of the International Art Festivals, a week-long event that brings together global musicians to foster cultural exchange and celebrate diverse musical traditions. President Volodymyr Zelensky praised Ukrainian force for holding positions across all forts, including Pokrovsky and Dobropila in Donetsk. He awarded 304 soldiers 135 for their service. Zelensky highlighted unarmed unit, assault brigades, and artillery regiments, as well as long-range strikes against Russia that are weakening Moscow's capabilities. He also described support for frontline communities and anti-corruption measures in the energy sector, reaffirming Ukraine's resilience and European cooperation.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці. Коротко про сьогодні. Перше, військові. Були доповіді по фронту. Надзвичайно важливо, що жодного значного результату окупанту немає. Покровський напрямок, райони Добропілля, Донеччина, загалом ми захищаємо наші позиції. Захищаємо позиції і на всіх інших напрямках фронту, і це найбільш вагомий результат для нашої держави. Я хочу подякувати кожному підрозділу, всім нашим воїнам. Особливо сьогодні я хочу відзначити 414-ту бригаду сил безпілотних систем «Птахи Мадяра». Також хочу відзначити 411-й окремий полк безпілотних систем «Яструби» і прикордонний підрозділ безпілотних авіаційних систем «Фенікс». Дякую вам, дуже дякую вам, воїни. Артилеристи 26-ї, 55-ї, 148-ї бригад та воїни-ракетники 360-ї окремої берегової бригади ВМС України. Дякую вам. 5-та та 92-га окремі штурмові бригади, 71-ша окрема єгерська, 227-ма окрема важка механізовані бригади, підрозділи ССУ, а також 1-й, 33-й, 225-й та 425-й окремі штурмові полки. І дуже важливо, щоб кожен підрозділ за своїм напрямком був ефективним заради України. Я підписав сьогодні указ про відзначення державними нагородами наших воїнів. 304 військовослужбовця Збройних сил України, із них 135, на жаль, посмертно. Була доповідь міністра оборони Дениса Шмигаля за підсумками року у постачанні озброєння, в оборонному виробництві. Ми маємо виконати всі завдання, які були і в забезпеченні фронту, і у фінансуванні нашої армії, і в наших діпстрайках. Зараз фактично кожного дня Україна застосовує свої далекобійні санкції проти Росії. І кожного дня у нас є чіткий результат у вигляді зменшення російських можливостей. Росія повинна втрачати, і це насправді миротворча тактика. Я хочу подякувати усім, хто працює заради відповідних спроможностей України. І, звісно, нашим воїнам за влучність. Провів сьогодні також нараду із нашими урядовцями, командою Офісу щодо ситуації у наших прифронтових громадах, у таких наших містах, як Нікополь та міста півдня України, міста Харківщини, Сумщини, які фактично щодня під ударами. Ми готуємо нові заходи підтримки для наших людей у прифронтових і прикордонних громадах. А також
That is all for the Nltv English Primetime. For more news and update, keep watching Nagaland TV.